Hello, everyone. This is Tony, CEO and co-founder of SHOPPE BLACK. Today, I'm joined by Mr. Anthony Miles and Mr. Clinton Bush. They are the co-founders and principals of TPP Capital Holdings. How are you doing today, gentlemen?
We're doing great.
Thanks.
Awesome. Good to hear. So if you don't mind, maybe we could start with Anthony. Could you tell us what TPP Capital Holdings is?
TPP Capital Holdings is a Philadelphia-based social impact private equity and urban healthcare firm that's on a mission to change Black health by developing whole neighborhood, holistic master plan developments throughout the United States.
Oh, that's great. And what inspired the creation of the fund that you have right now?
Well, I'll let Clinton answer that question.
Well, one, what we noticed long time ago was that in urban America, in our communities, are food deserts and health wellness deserts. So we wanted to change that, and then our people have very chronic illness because they don't have access to fresh produce. So that's the reason why we started this journey.
And if you could go into a little bit, we'll continue with you, Clinton. Like, can you go into a little bit about your background, your professional background, and what brought you to this stage right here?
Okay, my background is in social impact investing. Let me just jaywalk over to the food space. Also, I have experience in food innovative science, which includes food science, food technology, as well as food processing, food marketing, and food packaging. So I have a real, let me see how I can say that. I have a real desire to make sure we provide opportunities, healthy opportunities to our people.
That's great. You, Anthony?
My background is heavily concentrated in urban development, ground up development of everything from workforce housing to senior housing to large scale development, as well as my experience working with Clinton for over 40 years. We've been working together for 40 years. So some of that food experience that Clinton is referring to rubbed off on me as well.
Oh, that's great. And the Urban Agriculture and Food Investment Fund, I guess, Anthony, we could continue with you. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, the fund is is one of the first urban ag funds in the country, focused on opportunity zones. The fund itself is a $23 million fund that we're raising. We just launched the fund on March the 11th, which we're excited about. And the fund covers a bunch of verticals. The first vertical is a $2 million investment commitment that we made for Vertical Harvest LC3, which is a Jackson Hole, Wyoming agribusiness. And that money that we're investing through the fund is going to be used for the expansion of Vertical Harvest into 15 markets throughout the country. Some of the markets include Chicago, Connecticut, of course, Philadelphia, and other markets, which we're very excited about. So that investment will get our fund a 12% equity stake in Vertical Harvest. And this will be the first Black-led fund to have an equity interest in a urban ag a business like this, which we're excited about. Another vertical is we're investing $5 million commitment into Vertical Harvest Philly, which will be a 70,000 square foot ground up greenhouse, which will grow 1 million pounds of fresh produce annually. We're also going to invest $10 million in preventative health sites. So our fund will go around the country, buy sites that's suitable to put a preventative health hub, which consists of the farm, a preventative health tower, housing for the farm workers, and we will buy the sites, get it approved through the municipality zoning, and we will ground lease that site to the developer. And then last but not least, we're going to invest $3 million into food and beverage companies with Black and brown ownership participation.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Clinton, could you go into a little bit of how, I guess, the portion about investing in the food and beverage businesses and what your capabilities are in helping people manufacture and produce their own products?
Well, let me go back to the farm, if you don't mind, Tony. What makes our vertical farming project and what we get ready to do so magnificent is because we'll be able to produce multi-crops. Most vertical farms doesn't have that ability to produce multiple crops. Let me tell you what I mean by that. In the manufacture coming out of the farm, we'll be able to produce lettuce, microgreens, and herbs. So that's one thing I want to really focus on, the capability. And like Anthony said, that 1 million pounds of produce a year, by being able to produce those multi crops, is going to really impact our communities. Because let's look at it. First of all, our communities are food deserts, don't have access to fresh produce. Now we're producing 1 million pounds of produce, which now they can kind of work out of that chronic illness and have a lot of fresh produce. So I'm excited about what we want to be manufacturing from the farm.
Sure.
So let Anthony answer that. Anthony's good. He'll be able to answer what we want to help them companies manufacture.
So in terms of the investment, our team, which will consist of, which will be led by Clinton, as well as many CEOs of various food companies that Clinton, that are friends with Clinton, as well as food marketing and universities we have relationships with, will work with these startups and work with them to scale their companies. So in addition to help them improve their products, we'll be able to help professional athletes as well as other people who want to create food products, from helping them to design the food product through the whole process. So we, through our longstanding relationships with many of those relationships that was forged by Clinton, have a vast resource of team of high-level individuals in the food industry that can greatly assist these brown and Black-owned food companies.
Oh, that's great. And how will the fund and its investments have a positive impact on the, I guess, environment in general?
The investments will center around a lot of different impacts. We have the social impacts of the improved health, the reduction of the chronic diseases, people becoming aware of a more healthier alternatives in food, and then the long-term reduction of healthcare costs for our country. In terms of the economic impact, all of the jobs that the farm will create and the fund will catalyze, as well as the economic impact of the capital going into these Black and brown-owned food companies. So we anticipate that through this fund, we'll have close to, a $360 million. No, it's actually 3.2 billion in catalyzed economic impact. So the impact is huge in terms of the amount of capital that it will attract and investors to these areas with these preventative health hubs. So we're pretty excited about, how we design our funds to not only get a good return, but also get social and economic impact.
Oh, that's great. In terms of opportunity zones, sometimes I think there's a lot of, I guess, misconceptions around what they are and how to leverage them. I think that you found, I guess, the right way to do so when it actually benefits the community. Could you speak on leveraging opportunity zones and how they, in a way that actually benefits the community?
Yeah, opportunity zones, traditionally, an opportunity zone is something that was created in a bipartisan way by Senator Cory Booker and Senator Tim Scott was the kind of the champions of that zone, opportunity zone. And the premise of the zone was to find a way to be able to put money into these distressed areas. So there's a total of 8,700 opportunity zones throughout the country that's designated. And these zones were designated by each governor, designated the zones within their state. Since the legislation was passed, the investor gets a basis, a reduction basis on his capital gains. So in order to benefit from the zone, an investor would have to take capital gains from the sale of real estate, stocks, art, or whatever, and create the capital gains. So there would be a taxable event on the gains. So what the legislation provides is a deferral of that taxable event. So they don't have to pay the IRS if they direct that money into one of those 8,700 zones. In addition to that deferral, they get a reduction, a 10% reduction in what they have to pay for making the investment. But that's not really the real upside of it. The upside is if I invest $1 million into an opportunity zone, and that $1 million over a 10-year period grow to $15 million at exit, the $15 million is 100% non-taxable. So that capital appreciation over that 10-year period of having your money in the zone, you create at exit a non-taxable federal event. And many of the states follow suit, so it's no state taxes either. So that's really the upside of investing. And what we were able to do is blend that investment return with a social impact return. So not only the investor gets all of the benefits that we just described, they get the doing good part of it, which is the jobs, the health reduction, providing affordable housing for people in need, providing the senior housing for people in need. Like Clinton said, providing fresh fruits and vegetables to an area that don't have access to it, providing healthcare. So there's all of these social impacts that we've designed or weaved into our fund that typically funds throughout the country haven't done. They've been straight on the financial return I don't care about the community. I'm gonna get in and get out. Where we've designed our fund and this urban ag fund to have multiple long-term benefits from the community that's centered around health and wellness.
That's interesting. And what are some ways that the fund could benefit? Like, how do Black farmers, I guess, fit into the picture? And what are the benefits for them, I guess, in the equation?
Well, in terms of, Black farmers benefit from this in particular is like these indoor urban farms are really in the inner city. They're on, smaller plots of land, like let's say hypothetically a 20,000 square foot lot. It's not really a big lot that you could put a 70,000 square foot hydroponic greenhouse on. And the way the farmers benefit is through our hub, the ancillary farmers market that we'll create, that will create an opportunity for these Black farmers to sell their products in the farm. So in each market, our model is to create that community marketplace where Black and brown people, now we could go back to our original roots where we can have a place where we can trade, So
Right.
we plan to create that in Tioga district and also in other parts of the country. And now these Black farmers now have distribution outlets for their products.
Let
What are
me
some,
add
yeah.
let me add to what Anthony said, Tony.
Mhm.
Another big benefit is most vegetables we get are trucked in. They're not as fresh as we think they are. You go to the supermarket, they're trucked in. So by being able to produce your own produce right in the urban community, what we was able to create is that we can go from farm to fork in 24 hours. Let me say that again. You can go from the farm. So that's a benefit for the Black farmer. So now he has leverage, or she. And the leverage that they will have, I can deliver you a fresher product quickly from the farm to your kitchen table, because I can do it in 24 hours by having a vertical farm. I can harvest quicker, which means the vegetables won't be void of taste. A lot of vegetables and produce is trucked in to our supermarkets or to our farmers markets, and it's void of taste. So you getting a very fresh product from farm to fork in 24 hours, which is a benefit for that Black farmer to be able to deliver a product in this freshness that quick.
No, that's great. And I guess lastly, in wrapping up, like what does success look like for you both with the fund? What is the like ultimate goal and the vision for it?
Well, I'll jump in first and then Clinton could go. What's success? There's multiple successes. Well, the first success is to complete the entire raise. And then within that, success also for us would be Black and brown participation in the fund would be success. It would be, to me, it would be, that's the whole purpose, is to do twofold, is to make sure we address the needs of our community by having fresh produce, but also to have ownership or equity. And that would be success to our team, is to have a pool of equity. Out of 23 million, I would like to have 5 million of the equity be from Black and brown investors. So that would be a major milestone, to have people that can say, hey, I have an equity interest in urban agriculture. And let me tell you about my portfolio. My portfolio consists of, I have an interest in vertical harvest in Wyoming. I have an equity interest in the Philadelphia 70,000 square foot farm. I have an interest in these 7 preventative health sites, one in this city, one in this city. And I also have, I have an equity interest in some Black and brown food and beverage startups. So that would be success for us. Clinton?
To add on to what Anthony said, to be able to visit a city, let's start with Philly, to go and point and see that beautiful real estate, that beautiful building, and say, I own a piece of that building that's doing a goodwill in the city of Philadelphia. And I got a nice portfolio. And then to look on a nationwide basis to be like, well, you know, I also own a piece of this that's sweeping around the nation. So to be able to say I'm a part of all of these things that this fund would do would be success, along with saying, look at my portfolio, and leaving a legacy for your children and your relatives, to get them involved at some point, to change their mindset, the way they look at themselves and the way they look at their money and their community. So that would be success for me, for us.
No, that's amazing. Yeah, ownership is key, and the health aspect of it, you know, also is equally, if not more important. So
Absolutely. And Tony, last thing I would like to say, and to that end, one of the programs that we created, TPP did, to address that is our racial equity and inclusion initiative that's tied to our fund, where as managers, we, for Black and brown investors, we have the discretion to accept a minimum $25,000 investment. So we made it really easy for Black and brown people who are interested to invest to 25, which the normal investment amount is $1 million. So there's a big difference between $1 million and 25,000. So we have a special program to be able to engage people who are interested, and they can invest at a level that at 25, we think that's doable for most Black and brown investors.
And lastly, if someone who is interested in the fund, what's the best way to get in contact with you, either of you?
Yeah, they can reach me at Anthony Miles, M-I-L-E-S. My email is Anthony M at T as in Tom, P as in Paul, P as in Paul, funds, FUNDS.com.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time. You know, wish you all the best with the fund, and I'm sure we'll be in contact soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tony, and God bless you with all of your endeavors.
Thank you. Have a great day, gentlemen.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.